see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Austin.
Boy, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh! You wanna get sued?
Judgment, Austin.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love it when he does that.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. And today I see Hey Jude. Good to see you, Hey Jude. I'm so sorry, Astrology for Mystics. I keep forgetting. I wrote it down and I keep trying to, I need to give you a wrench. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I read that in the comments. And then hello to Anne, Meow, Town Chat Cafe, Seashell. I see Megan L's here. I see Lori, Show Poodles, Adam Forever 21. Good to see you guys. So nice to see everyone. Hello, Maleficent. Good to see you. And I'm sorry Forget Me Not. I almost forgot Forget Me Not. Good to see you, Forget Me Not. Hey, Tracy. Good to see you. I hope you all had a great day. It's been a weird day. Hey, Cece. Hey, Brenda. It's been a weird day. A weird couple of days, I guess, right? Today was a court date for BHB. I will let you guys go over to her channel and get an update on that. Really, it just looks like they're going to be seeing it in a higher court. So that was my understanding. And correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys, know different, but that's kind of what I gathered from the day. I uploaded a couple of clips. I uploaded a couple of clips from Crime Time Buzz tonight, and they are from the audio of Chris Proudfoot. So didn't get to put all the flair into it in the last couple clips that I uploaded, but I'm going to just upload them to my channel after the live. So I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about time and pressure building in the case, because I think that, it's very apparent. Everything that I have taken in today, I've realized that, there's a lot of just, hey, Scranton, there's just a lot of pressure building. And of course, over time, that's going to happen, right? It's just like if you're blowing up a balloon and you just keep blowing it up and blowing it up and blowing it up, right? It's just going to have so much pressure, it's going to burst. And that's kind of my feeling tonight. Public opinion is kind of at an all-time high right now with all of the information coming out about the parents, right? So, and the parents speaking out themselves. Of course, we haven't heard from Katie, but you'll kind of see in the clips. And again, I'm going to upload them so you can go watch them too. But it just seems to me that the pressure has been building for a long time, and Chris is the spokesperson kind of for Katie. He's made that kind of clear that he wanted to take on that role and be a spokesperson for Katie. So, and I made like a little kind of a graph, more or less like a mock investigation board, right, where we just have kind of these series of events. So we have the lashing out, child in the corner. We have, Sebastian and these billboards that have come out that I am in support of, because I think that it makes people think. And I think that we all should be thinking in the same direction in terms of facts. One being, Katie was the last person in the home with Sebastian. Does that mean that she is guilty? No, it doesn't. But it does paint a more realistic picture of what is happening, right? A more realistic narrative, because I know that there was a lot of talk about Chris's home being doxxed, for example. That is where Sebastian went missing from, right? So that's going to happen naturally. Hey, crafting and true crime. Now, going to someone's house and doing something horrible to them or threatening them and things like that is completely wrong. So, in my opinion, that would not be something that I would participate in or, do on my own. You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to be like an investigative type journalist, I would knock on the door and be polite. I wouldn't just go up there and be rude to these people, right? Because, hey, Eric with an H, good to see you. So I wouldn't be horrible to these people, because I would want, for one, to get information out of them, of course. I'm sorry, guys, if there's a bit of an echo there. But I would want to get information, of course, and I would want to, get their point of view, right? If I wanted to speak with them, I would get their point of view. So, that being said, we do have to look at it in a realistic way, in my opinion, that Sebastian went missing from his home. So that's kind of where we start off. But over time, we see this pressure building and building and building, right? And there's nowhere else for it to go. So we see some blow-ups, right? And watching Chris's video, it made more sense to me what Seth was saying in terms of context, right? So I kind of would like to maybe put together a comparison of the audios for us so I can put together more of a clear picture of why, what was said afterwards was said, right? Because it was two separate conversations. But either way, I will have, those other clips up for you later on today. Let's see here. I'm just going to go over comments really quick. Oh, Lori Vallow. Yeah, I know there is a lot of hot stuff going on with Lori Vallow. Like I said, I kind of got lost on Lori Vallow a little bit. I'm just glad they're both where they're supposed to be. Oh, that's interesting, Tracy. Yeah, and that's a possibility. I mean, the construction site is where the dog tracked to, and then the scent was lost. We did hear that. So, but I don't know about medications having like a scent on them. It's very possible. But thank you for your comment there. And let's see. Okay, I was just going over these guys just to see if I didn't miss anything. And then I think we'll just play the first clip. There you go. Hey, Jude. Thank you. Hey, Jude. Oh, my goodness. That's the only way we can do it. Okay, yeah. So I apologize for that, too. Oh, my goodness. Astrology. I'm so sorry. Wonderful. Well, I'm going to go ahead and play this first clip for you guys.
Mr. Chris explodes. He got on a panel today and he exploded. Trigger warning, we're going to listen to the audio together. And I am shooketh. He's very upset about bulletin boards being put up. And if you recall, the pressure's been building. April 2nd, there was an alleged argument in the parking lot of the courthouse. A sheriff was serving a subpoena at the Peafoot house. Pressure's been building. Now the bulletin boards are out with messages, direct messages, in hopes to find Sebastian and finally have an answer to what is going on. I will let you know again, it is a trigger warning, very foul language.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Are we on the show?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I heard you talking about Brittany J, right?
Yeah.
That bitch couldn't get fucked if she ran through a field of dicks backwards with her ass cheeks spread wide the fuck open. So you can play that shit for that bitch to hear.
Don't worry.
You really want to fucking know. She ain't had her fucking feelings crushed, but I'll do my minimum to fucking destroy her fucking feelings. Because quite honestly, that bitch needs to close her fucking mouth before she can stuff a whole goddamn turkey in it and choke on the fucking chicken leg on the way down. And hell, by doing it, she might actually do something good for her kids and her husband. So fuck that bitch. I'm sitting tired of listening to this fucking bitch run her mouth about me, my wife, my family, and anybody else out there. When that bitch she ain't fucking no angel. She ain't no goddamn perfect person. Fuck her.
I can't argue any of that, but you
And anybody that fucks with her can fuck off too.
I agree.
So I'm sick and tired of listening to this fucking bitch.
Well, you have officially made my computer stall with the chat going wild.
Sorry, everybody. I apologize, but I'm just sick and tired of listening to this fucking bitch. Yeah, and I've said some shit about her before, and I don't give a fuck if she stood in front of my goddamn face. I'd say it right to her fucking face again.
Me too. With pleasure.
Now, what I will say is instead of her sitting here trying to grift and make money and shit, you should probably learn how to pay your fucking bill like your fucking property tax bill that you still ain't fucking paid. Yeah, you want to go real life? I'll go real life, bitch. I done looked your ass up.
I repeat, this is the stepfather of missing teen Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Sebastian was reported missing February 26, 2025. He was with his mother, who is married to Mr. Chris, this individual who we are listening to.
Well, she says that's okay. So, I mean, I'm just saying, she does say that. When it comes to Queen and her children and me and mine, it's okay.
Well, guess what? I can do it to her kid and the other 3 fucking kids that she ain't got control of. It's like, yeah, bitch, you want to dig into somebody's past, make damn sure that they don't play the game better than you. Make sure that they don't find your fucking exit and can get the dirt on you, bitch, and can spread it across God knows how far. Sometimes it's best you just shut the fuck up, pray your little prayers, grip your little fucking money, and move the fuck on instead of fuck out of everybody else's business.
I can't argue anything.
Can I get an amen?
There we go.
Amen. Hey, this bitch, shut the fuck up. Hey, I don't know what one day we're gonna hope she does. Oh my God, she's a fake fucking Christian. Oh my God. Open the fucking church, fucking psycho bitch.
The fucking dogs in the background got me.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna get hell for this, but I really don't give a fuck either.
Hell from who, though? That's the thing. From who? From who? The Green Team? The all-magnificent at-night media? Who fucking cares, man? Fuck y'all. Like, for real, fuck y'all. If y'all were serious, all of us would be sitting in the courtroom instead of just...
Well, guess
Okay, guys, and really quick, I just want to say sorry to Brittany J, because again, I do not think that she deserves this one bit, not one bit. And so, hello, Poppy Love, and good to see you. And I am Two Bear as well, and everyone coming in. Hey, Mama Dukes. Nobody deserves that at all. It's just really uncalled for, and I feel bad playing it because but I kind of wanted to give it a little bit of context, even though we did it in reverse, right? Because we listened to Seth, what he had to say. And then now we're listening to this. But I just want to reiterate that I don't agree with what is being said. I find it to be like utterly disgusting. And I think that's why I had an overabundance of memes to get us through it, because I just think it's absolutely wretched behavior again. So what this is Chris Proudfoot going off on Brittany J, a woman, like Seth said last night. So he's going off on another woman. Crime Time Buzz is the one that pulled the audio from this conversation that Chris was having with Cletus, and then there was Queen Bee that hops up later. So Crime Time Buzz talks about the argument in the parking lot at the courthouse. Again, this time, this pressure building, right? These instances. Hey, Holly S., good to see you. Everything kind of bubbling up and bubbling over, right? The billboards that come out with a direct message, right? Very thought-provoking messages, right? Where is Sebastian? What could have happened to him? Where is he? Right? And for those of you who haven't seen them up close, I have a few of them. So what did I do? You made me vanish. I cried, you lied, and was it worth it? We have this one that says, who took me? And we have this other one that says, Google it, y'all. And, as much fun as we've had with that phrase, I still find it to be sickening when I see it on the billboard like that, right? Because it kind of reiterates that the unthinkable could have happened, right? Especially when we hear this level of anger towards a woman. And it doesn't get any better. He doesn't really calm down. It's quite scary. So we want to find Sebastian. We want to find answers. And I think that these billboards can help us do that when we get people thinking, right? Because if they drive past and all they see is another billboard, it's a way to stand out, right? I think it's very smart. I think that people can say what they will about Dog the Bounty Hunter at night, what they will say about Hong, what they will say about Nick, but I do support their efforts because they're making Sebastian stand out when he typically wouldn't be. Um, we even see what happened to poor little Summer's case. She shouldn't fall by the wayside. And they're making it so that Sebastian will not fall by the wayside, in my opinion. Very strong messages, right? Thought provoking. Again, BJ, I'm sorry. Public opinion is boiling over. I feel like they get up onto a panel and there's times where they're pushing the envelope with inciting violence on others, in my opinion. Let's see. Chris talks about going real life, right? And then Crime Time Buzz is really funny because and I don't think she means to be funny, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but I think it's just kind of funny how calm she comes in with her voice, and she's just like explaining the situation. She's like, this is what's going on. And she does like a really great job of doing that. In my opinion, I think it was nice. It was a very nice change, right? Because if we had to just listen to that nonstop, it would have been a lot to handle. So thank God for Crime Time Buzz. And I'm glad I stumbled upon it today. Because I don't know if the original was taken down or if I couldn't find it within the live or something like that. But either way, and thank you to the person that sent it over to me in that form, because she did a really nice job, very calming. It's never okay to go real life, guys, and we talked about that last night. Is obviously nobody likes that. Again, I think in this situation, Chris needs to take a step back and understand that there's a child that went missing from his home. And even though he may not like that, nobody likes it, frankly. And I think that people, need to be respectful and not, harass anybody. And it's never okay to go real life on kids. But then Chris goes and pops off and says that he, let's see here, but he will go real life on kids, the ones that she doesn't have control over. I don't know what that means. I don't know if she has older kids. Again, I'm so sorry, BJ, that you have to deal with that. That is something that I would definitely get over to law enforcement as fast as possible. That's the first thing I was thinking of when I watched it. And so that's the best thing that I can say, in my opinion, allegedly, in my opinion. But dealing with somebody who would be okay publicly acting in this manner is very dangerous, in my opinion, and in my experience. So, there's that. But never go real life, guys. If people go real life on you, call the police, protect yourself, stand up for yourself. If you see people doing that or inciting it on others, please stand up for it, or, don't participate. Pretty please. It's, it's kind of a no-brainer because nobody wants that done to them. All I need is Jesus. Good to see you. Good to see you. All I need is Jesus. I believe the billboards are doing exactly what they were intended to do. CP is rattled by them, which makes it all worth it, in my opinion. Well, and that may have been putting more pressure, right, on the situation, because we've been through this for far too long, right? So applying more pressure on the situation, I think, is a smart move at this juncture. And I also think, like you said, it's intended to rattle people up and see whose feathers are ruffled over it, right? So I think, I am Two Bear. I think these are all over. I think these billboards are probably going to be all over the place. There was a campaign that was mentioned, I remember, in Seth's live, and they talked about them getting time on the billboards, free time actually, where they had empty space and stuff, and then they were offering it to Seth's team, right? To Sebastian's army. So really fantastic, and that might be part of that campaign, or maybe they're just running them as many as they can too. So I'm not 100% on that, but I think they're everywhere. I know that the one, oh gosh, there's like a stadium name on it. The Phillies. You can see it on the bottom. Visit Phillies.com for tickets. But there's that one right there. Citizens Bank Park. So, thank you, Lori, for the green hearts. Yeah, Cece says, I think it's strategic of At Night to use psychological tactics to get CP to crack. I absolutely agree, and it would make anybody crack, right? Who's involved in it? That's the that's the idea behind it, and I do agree with that too, Cece. So thank you. Jane, thank you, Cinderella. Jane's voice is so calming. She says, we studied one of Jane's lives before, and she did a really great job. I really appreciated that soothing. I just had to make sure I said that because boy, oh boy, it's rough. It's brutal. It's brutal. And I didn't understand. I will say, because Seth is very kind, and you don't see him. He's polite in the chats and things like that. So anytime I've ever seen Seth interacting in the chats and things like that, it's always about wanting to get Sebastian home. He is very straightforward. Sometimes he'll answer a question, which is nice of him to do that, right? But he's always present, saying thank you, very polite. And I was wondering what had transpired, right? You all told me a little bit, but I never expected some of what we're going to hear tonight. And I do apologize for it in advance. It's not pretty. Like I said, it's brutal. It really is. And then it makes more sense to what we were talking about last night. It's unbelievable. And Cinderella says, real life, there is a young man missing, Chris. Exactly. And that's another thing too. I mean, it's like, let's see, how can I put this in a, most parents would want this type of applied pressure in their child's case because they don't want, as Katie said in the beginning, for Sebastian to fall to the bottom of a feed somewhere. Sometimes when somebody is trying to hide things, little things will pop out like that, where the true intentions will come out inadvertently, subconsciously, in my opinion, allegedly. See, that's terrible. I am too, Bear. And he's going after her kids. And, it's not okay to go after anyone's kids. Look, I don't agree with Queen Bee. I don't watch Queen Bee. But don't go after her kids. I told you guys last night, in all honesty, I don't watch Britney's channel. But that's because I don't watch a lot of channels, too. I mean, but I know that she talks about Sebastian and she spreads awareness about Sebastian. And so anybody that does that is going to be good, good in my book. I mean, I understand we're all just people. So, but don't go real life on people, and definitely don't go after their kids. Kids have enough stress on them. Chris is in a position right now where in my opinion, I think that this audio needs to go straight to the police, and I think it needs to go straight to the New Mexico court system because it's atrocious. It's behavior unbecoming of somebody who is all there. You know what I mean? So really quick, let me just go ahead and play this through. It's so bad, you guys. It's just so bad. There's no defending any of it, in my opinion.
And guess what? You fat ass home motherfucker. Got news for you. I still ain't got my goddamn papers that you're gonna sue me. Still ain't got them.
I love how Crime Time Buzz comes in and has the most calming voice as she explains what's really going on.
Hong works for At Night Intelligence Agency. He will also be referring to Dog the Bounty Hunter, who's helping to search for and raise huge awareness and into the disappearance of his stepson, Sebastian. Hong works for At Night, as does Nick, who he will be bringing up. It is an intelligence agency assisting Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, in the search for Sebastian. Dog the Bounty Hunter is also involved. The FBI has a $50,000 reward, and Dog the Bounty Hunter, At Night, along with others, have contributed to a reward now that is up to $447,000. But this stepfather does not like them and does not want them allegedly involved. Listen up.
What, dog? Hey, bitch! You a pussy? You said you were kicking in my door. My door still fucking stands and the opportunity's right there. Walk through it, motherfucker.
No, that's. I wish, whatever. It's.
Oh my god!
It's a fucking joke. You know what I mean?
Thanks for the
Oh, it's a whole damn joke. This dog showed up to go to his son's wedding.
Christian.
And I know the exit he passed. Bitch, you were 15 minutes from my house. You couldn't detour? Shit.
He could have.
No, he wouldn't have.
I'm saying he could have, but
No, he can't have. His senile old ass can't fucking figure out how to drive. Oh my god! Because if he's got my address, he knows where to find me.
On Chris rolling on the floor, laughing, rolling on the floor.
It's like the rest of you motherfuckers out there. Woo! Enough is enough. Tired of being nice to people. I'm tired of playing by their same bullshit fucking rules. Tired of.
He's referring to At Night, Dog, the people who are searching for Sebastian. Some people, allegedly, in our opinion, are not searching.
But that's the thing, they don't have the same rules. You know what I mean?
Well, what they should have, that's right, they don't have a conscience. They don't have fucking morals. None of them. So I'm sure. Go ahead, Brittany, change your fucking title. Go ahead and change it. Because you probably got your fucking bitches listening.
Oh, they're in here. They all
Oh, I'm glad they are.
Okay,
They can crawl in those fucking cellulite crevices all over her fucking body and fucking fester with it.
Ugh, damn.
Chris, on contrary, let's go fishing, Chris.
Girls will tell you to go to the fucking gym as a suggestion. No, bitch. That's your husband saying, you ain't attractive enough to fuck.
Well, I tried to tell her that, but.
Well, sometimes I gotta hear it from a guy. I don't know.
HELLLYEAAA.
Because I wouldn't fuck your nasty ass bitch ass anyways with Seth's fucking dick using the 3 fucking condom with a 20-foot fucking pole attached.
At Cluminati at Cletus, please
What
put
a
this
pig.
live on
He's
members
so
only when you
nasty.
are done with your live so BJ won't use for content. We all know she is watching, but she don't need to
Sorry.
use for her content.
You're so sick of hearing this shit. Oh my
BJ won't play this.
Boo, you
Chris
pig.
honesty is
Why
refreshing.
not?
I respect that more.
Chicken shit.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Let her little other 3 fucking minions get in on it too. Because if I'm right, didn't y'all all sign fucking NDAs?
they can't. They can't talk bad about Seth. They can't do it. legally they cannot, if you think an NDA is worth anything, right? But legally they can't talk bad about Seth. Even if they thought there was something awful with him, they couldn't talk about it.
Actually, that's where everybody's wrong. If you have carnal knowledge
Thank you,
of
Chris, for speaking up
nefarious
less fine
criminal
Sebastian.
acts, you can say fucking NDA all the way to a lawyer's office where you can make a report and then they can just eat a fat baby's dick. Because guess what? The NDA don't mean shit.
I mean, I agree.
It doesn't protect you from criminal activity, nefarious acts.
Oh my God.
Okay, guys. Yeah. So just disgusting. Just a bunch of filth. Hey, Audrey. A bunch of filth. A bunch of nastiness. I don't know how many billboards are up now, Lori. I would like to know. Meg says, I didn't hear that part till today. My heart breaks for Brittany with all the ugly she's been getting by yucky people uncalled for. I hope she knows it's just to stop for her from saying Sebastian's name. Yeah, it's just to stop her, excuse me. I agree with that completely. I mean, just a complete pig, you know. I find it really interesting that Chris feels so free to speak to women in the manner that he does. It's mind-boggling to me, because it absolutely shows also that there's no respect from Katie or given by Katie, like, hey, don't talk to women that way. That's not right to do. You know, if anybody should be going after Brittany J, it should be Katie, in my opinion. A woman to woman type of a thing. I don't think it's a fair match, and I think it's just a super bully mentality that Chris seems to be very, very violent towards women, and very freely. You know, he'll say things like, something so disgusting that he needs to hear it she needs to hear from a man, you know, how horrible she is and that he wouldn't be sleeping with her. That's absolutely disgusting, disrespectful, uncalled for, like Meg said, and people let him do it. So again, it makes total sense what Seth was saying last night. Another thing, he goes on to threaten Dog the Bounty Hunter. He's threatening people who are looking for his stepson, excuse me. He doesn't have a problem going up on live, and he's been going up on lives a lot lately. And he doesn't say a whole lot, but I find it very interesting that in this little clip here, he brings up other people not having a conscience. I think these are hurting his conscience. I think the picture of Katie, I survived Christopher Proudfoot, or Mr. Chris, whatever it says. It's kind of small. I can't see it. The belt with Sebastian. A child in the corner being ridiculed by an adult. By a mean stepdad. An evil stepdad, in my opinion. You know, we grow up hearing these fairy tales of an evil stepmother. Well, geez, look at Chris Proudfoot. Just look at him. And then you have these 2 other billboards up of a missing child. And you mean to tell me that that doesn't make any sense to you? You mean to tell me that that doesn't hurt your conscience? That doesn't apply pressure to your conscience, Chris? But you're going to go after a woman? How dare you? How dare you? And think you can get away with it? Again, applying the pressure, the public opinion. Thank you, Holly S. Good to see all you guys. Yeah, he's flipping over the billboards. He's flipping over the billboards. No doubt about it. He's flipping over the billboards. He can't handle it. It's eating away at him. And he talks about other people's conscience. Talk about projection. Talk about twisting the narrative to change it over and flip the script onto somebody else. No way, Chris. We're not going to let you do that here. I think it's bothering your conscience, not our consciences. I think it's bothering your conscience. Just, listen to the little tiniest things that he will bring up. And it sucks because you have to listen for so long. But if you just keep listening, there'll be a little tiny nugget in there, like him bringing up other people's conscience and morality. Yeah, CP's a pig. That's pretty much all I got for that clip. Hey, Polly's Cookies. Brittany said on last night's live that she has already been talking with her local police department. Oh, wonderful. She's talked with them several times. Good. She knows how to legally defend herself and her family. Amen. Well, great, Polly's Cookies. I'm so glad to hear that. I just think it's awful. I think it's terrible. I will never stand up for that. I don't care who is doing it. It's not okay. I am Two Bear says, so they are even in Hendersonville and a blue gasket. Yeah, I'm thinking that they're all over. I think that there's one. I know there's one that he can see, according to someone that, is a reliable source, that there's one that he can definitely see. Oh, okay. Show Poodle says, I saw addresses of some. Oh, sorry. See, I thought I put you on stage. Okay. I saw the addresses of some on X post by Hong, and there are 2 in the immediate area, one near my hometown and one an hour from here. I know exactly where they are. Oh, that's fantastic, Show Poodles. Well, great. I'm glad they're up. We need them. We need them. We need to apply the pressure. Because that's how we're going to get something done. And right now, Chris is throwing, one of his good old-fashioned shit fits, right? He is kicking and screaming on the floor. He's certainly protesting too much, Cinderella says. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I did watch the Lab After Dark last night. And he was saying the same thing. I remember him saying, and there were people in his chat saying it. And it was just like, it tells us all we need to know when we just step back and observe the reaction. It'll tell us a lot. Crafting and True Crime said, how is it possible for anyone who didn't pay for those billboards have them removed? Or is it another lie being spread if you know? Yeah, so it's, to my knowledge, it has not affected the billboards. That was from Seth last night in Josh's chat. So he said that not to his knowledge, it hasn't. I know that Queen Bee said in this live, I believe it was, or maybe I heard it someplace else, that she successfully got a billboard down, but I don't. Seth, as of last night when Josh did his live, Seth said that the billboards haven't been affected to his knowledge. So, but it's why would you want them taken down? What does it matter if Sebastian's name is up there, right? With a huge reward for information. It's just really strange. Yeah, thank you, Meg. Yeah, thank you for letting us know, Polly. Thank you so much. He's a nut, in my opinion, Holly S. Exactly. He is a nut. This guy is crazy as hell. And, to just come up here and do that and blatantly, threaten people's kids and, it doesn't make it right, whoever's getting that done to them. And then Chris turns around and pops off and says he's going to, go after kids, Yeah, I am too. Bear says, I guess it's a lie. I think so too. Nancy says he straight up threatened this poor girl's life. I'm so glad Seth put him in his place. Yeah, it's time to crack this case. Praying for Easter miracle in Jesus' name. Thank you, Nancy. Amen. I agree. And, you know, it makes sense again, what I was saying earlier, that we did speak about Seth and hear from him last night. It makes total sense now what he was saying and why he was saying it, how he said it, um, because of what Chris was saying. Absolutely awful. Polly's Cookie says, and she has tools of self-protection and she knows how to use them. Good. Oh, good. Brittany, I apologize if I didn't quote your words exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Brittany. I appreciate you. I just want to bring awareness to this because I don't think it's right at all. And also, I do want to make it, put it into more context what we were talking about last night, because we don't hear Seth doing this. We don't hear him going and popping off all these places and, and doing these things. So it's very, out of character, but well-deserved in my opinion, because, while we're listening to this, it's very difficult not to say anything. You have to at that point. You're kind of your back's against a wall. Cinderella said, what if Sebastian disappeared at Seth's? What would be happening right now? Well, I believe that we would probably wonder what happened at Seth's house, obviously, and I do agree. I agree with that. So thank you, Cinderella, because that's, absolutely true. And it's not to bash anybody or to make them, fearful or anything like that, because I don't believe in that, it's just, one of those things that it's really, really sad, because, I think that it's all like a distraction, a diversion from the truth. And, I'm just praying that we can find Sebastian, because I think that's what it seems that law enforcement is, digging their heels with. They want to find him first, which is understandable. But if it happened at Seth's house, I'd be looking at Seth. If Katie was at work all night, I wouldn't be looking at Katie. Chris was out of town, so, and we'll hear him say that in this live, that he saw Sebastian in the beginning of February, like he said. So, hey, Mama May, good to see you. Oh, thank you for hitting that like button. Hey, Detroit Rock City, good to see you. After I listened to CP today, it made me physically ill and I was in shock. I've been trying to deal with my own headache, my own heartache, but I am infuriated and appalled about what he said about Brittany. It's sickening. I'm so sorry, Detroit Rock City. I am so sorry, my friend, and I appreciate you being here. I kind of was glad to kind of do them in pieces because they were so awful. So awful. So thank you for listening, and thank you for letting us know how they made you feel or think, because I know it's tough when we have to hear these things. Like I said, the best word that I could come up with for it is brutal. It was completely brutal, uncalled for. Oh, thank you, Mama Dukes. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you. That's so sweet of you. But it is, it's absolutely, it's awful. And, the lunacy that is kind of going to ensue in these couple of clips, really puts things into perspective about what we were talking about last night, Aw, thank you. Hey, Jude. We love our Detroit Rock City. Who wants... Well, I don't know, Cinderella, and that's the thing. Thank you for the trigger warning. Hey, Jude. Yeah, and tonight is going to be another trigger warning. And, again, just to put it into perspective, this was something that was said on a live, and then Seth got on and said his piece, right? Or how he felt about it, what he thought about it. I just feel like they always play the victim Cinderella, and I feel like they cause problems behind the scenes, and then they act like the victim. Thank you, Hey Jude. Holly S. I tried to put a lot of memes in there tonight because I was like, we need some help with this one. Good to see you, Just Me. We need some help. Aw, thank you, Lori. For the life of me, I cannot understand KP. There is something wrong with her. She's acting like a CP puppet, not a mother whose son has been missing for 14 months. Hashtag Sebastian Strong. Hashtag Sebastian's Army. Thank you so much, Mama Cedar Street. I really appreciate you. I agree with you 100,000%. I can't figure it out either. And, especially even what she's allowing, even from what we see her allowing Chris to do to Brittany, right? Let's just put everything aside and look at that she's allowing for that. So you mean to tell me that she wouldn't allow for Chris to talk to anybody like that? And then when we think about it in terms of what happened with Sebastian, like you said, it's almost like a CP puppet, not a mother. We didn't see Katie sticking up for Sebastian when his sister was at the birthday party, in my opinion, antagonizing Sebastian, bullying Sebastian. No, we didn't see her step up and say, "Stop filming my son. He's upset." Yeah, well, dog. Oh, yes. Thank you, Nancy. Yes. So, yeah, he was talking about how Dog could have came by when he was there in Tennessee for his son's wedding, that he could have came to Chris's door. Well, we all know that would have went over like a turd in a punch bowl. There would have been no reason for Dog to do that, especially in a position of being professional as he is. And so, in that regard, that was just Chris. Again, I think puffing out his chest and, his overinflated ego talking. So yes, Nancy, thank you so much for clarifying. I think I read that. I misread that other question or statement. Hey, and NHGG, good to see you. Clue came on and you looked awful behind Chris today. Oh my goodness. I heard there was some stuff popping off right before I went live. Like a Manson wife, Holly, yes, exactly. Hey, Baba Rose. Yes. Oh gosh, yes, Polly's cookies. We're all concerned for Brittany's safety at this point. Yeah, and it's just the best thing to do to keep in touch with law enforcement. You know what I mean? That's the best thing that you can do. It's unfortunate, but it's just extra protection. And then also, we all can do things like, CCW courses, or we could do self-defense courses, things like that, even kickboxing, things like that, to make us feel more empowered and things. And I think it's important, it's an important dynamic to discuss, even though I would rather talk about just about anything in the case and not have to sit here and hear another creator being so badly disparaged and, in my opinion, for no good reason other than to intimidate and, again, delusions of grandeur, things like that. Cinderella says, has anyone ever really believed him? He changes his stories. He's showing his IQ. Yeah, Cinderella. And the thing is that he can't keep up with his lies, you know, because you got to tell another and another and another. That was another thing that Alec Murdaugh said on the stand, right? He said, oh, the tangled webs we weave, you know, when we tell a lie. And, you know, but it's true. It's weird for him to have admitted that on the stand, but it's also very true because once you say a lie, then you can't keep up with what you've told and you don't know who you've told what. And especially when you're in this situation, very stressful situation, you could weave some pretty tangled webs where you don't know, you know, your ass from the hole in the ground, you know. But you know, you're absolutely right. Thank you so much, Cinderella. And Mama May says that was Chris. He has been doing that from day one. He doesn't want Sebastian found because it makes him look guilty, in my opinion. They're both guilty. Well, I definitely think that, you know, so thank you for your comment, Mama May. I appreciate you and I agree. I definitely think that, you know, if Katie is the only one that hurt Sebastian, let's just say hypothetically she was the only one that hurt Sebastian, there had to have been a point where Chris was pulled into it and his family was pulled into it, in my opinion. I just really feel strongly about that because I don't see Chris being the one to stick around. I don't see, I mean, my problem is that I believe that Chris is a narcissist. So if I believe that to be true, which I really do, in my opinion, allegedly, then that means that he's very self-centered. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. He doesn't have very, you know, great self-awareness. And that's another, you know, common theme tonight that we'll see in these clips is that he lacks self-awareness, you know, to the max and to, you know, to a fault. And, it's a tough situation because I just believe that that a narcissist is the type of person that would extricate themselves from a situation, right? Like you hear a lot of times when a narcissist spouse gets ill, you say they have a terminal illness or a long-term illness, they don't treat them well. They treat them like trash, you know, kind of like we see him treating Katie, telling her put her big girl panties on and move forward, and you know you got to get over this, and yeah, it'll be emotional baggage, but you know we're, you know, whatever. It's not a spouse that's going to stick around, right? It's not somebody that you know is standing by you. It just seems like he's standing with her because he is involved, in my opinion. But absolutely, Mama May, I agree. Holly S, he's such a weirdo. He's such a weirdo. And that's what I typed into my little meme finder. I was like, weirdo, creep. So you'll see all those, like, you know, when I find them, it's like, you know, that's what I searched to find it. Meg says, the fact that he has people who pay him on the back, or excuse me, the fact that he has people who will pat him on the back while he says this stuff makes me think all humanity is gone. I get really frustrated with that as well because it's like we all know that this is wrong. If we looked at it from any other perspective, our differences aside from what we think happened to Sebastian or where he is or theories, hypotheses, whatever we can come up with, right? Speculation, you know, all that aside, we all know right from wrong. So at a certain point, there has to be some sort of incentive to continue with these antics and the charade that we're seeing unfold before us in this case, because I can't sit here and believe that anybody thinks when they look at this or hear this clip that this is in any way, shape, or form proper from a missing child's stepfather. You know, and then he likes to defend and say, oh, well, he's my son, blah, 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 blah. We don't think of it like that. Perfect. Either way, your son's missing, your stepson's missing, you have a missing child. You're upset because people know where you live, but your child went missing from your home. You know, just to put it in perspective, I don't need to play semantics. Chris does, and he always does play semantics. He's been playing them from the beginning, and I think that's one point of contention, right? That's another reason why there's some much needed pressure to be applied, because at the end of the day, we're getting nowhere with these people. You know, they're sitting back laughing. They're sitting back, like one of the Billboard says, you know, still laughing. It's not funny. It's not. You know, we have to bring a little bit of satire into the situation so we can bear it, in my opinion, because it's quite unbearable. It's quite unbearable. You know, Baba Rose says that mouth on him needs to go behind the woodshed with a real man. Amen, Baba Rose. I mean, I'm telling you what, you know, go pick on someone your own size. He is so cowardly. That is the biggest P word ever. To bow up to a woman? Like, are you mad? Cece says, can he just go to the jail for being disgusting? Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't care if the people cuss in the context level of anger. That's appalling. Well, and then also what really gets to me too, Cece, I agree. You know, I wish he could go to jail for that. Honestly, it might do him a little bit of good, you know. Maybe he could learn something, but you know, you just don't do that. And he's doing this openly right before he has court, where he's saying that he's afraid of people, but he's up there threatening women again. But then BHB has to go to court the next day with him, where he pretends like he's in fear from her. Do we see the mental gymnastics that we need to achieve that end result? Do we see how crazy that sounds? You know, make it make sense. I mean, make it make sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely ludicrous. And Scranton Strangler says Clue is just egging him on. It's disgusting in my opinion. They do egg it all on. Yeah, or then she'll say something like, well, they do it to me and mine all the time. Well, then don't do it to other people. What's wrong with you? If you don't want it done, you know, it's the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do to you, you know. It's like, but yeah, she does egg it on, Scranton. I agree. Oh, you look good in blue, Scranton. I just noticed. Cinderella says that girl is on every night doing her thing. She does none of the things he says. I agree, Cinderella. And you know what? That's really something to consider, because it is difficult to get up here every single night to talk. It takes a lot of energy, right? She has little kids. You know, it's like, you know, it's a completely different thing. And I think that she has a big group of people that really love her a lot, it seems like to me. And that is that's all we can ask for, is to build a good community of people, right? And it seems like there's a lot of jelly people out there that, you know, see these communities and they want to, you know, infiltrate them, or they want to kind of screw with them. And, you know, it's very sick. It's twisted. And, you know, to go after, I just don't understand. Again, I don't watch, but I wouldn't be interested to hear anybody going off on anybody, like Clue, Queen Bee, any of them, Granny, or anybody. Like, I don't even pay attention. I don't even pay attention to Granny. I don't even watch her at all. You know what I mean? So she's not even on my radar. None of the family goes on there. The only reason I listen to these is because, the family members are going on there, sadly. But yeah, thank you, Cinderella. I appreciate that comment. Yeah, no, I know who you're talking about. I do. NHGG says I will show up for any Sebastian court hearing. I have enough proof online now for the court, and trust me, nursing professionals keeping data goes a long way. Good, NHGG. I appreciate that. I think anyone that keeps a good log of information in this case is a godsend, right? Because there is so much. And, I haven't even fully been able to wrap my mind around, interviews like Yeda's interview, or Chris coming up on this panel, or Chris going on this panel. It's, especially when we have that pressure, right? It's building. So, there's just so much. But thank you. I'm glad that you're a diligent note taker. That's what we need. Because unfortunately, and I could be wrong, and maybe this is a strategy, but unfortunately, I don't see law enforcement paying too much attention to what's going on online. But I think that there are a lot of useful nuggets, like when Chris brings up his conscience, right? He's projecting, in my opinion, he's putting that onto us, saying that we don't have a conscience. But what better to jog someone's conscience than something like this? I mean, if I had something to do with Sebastian being missing, it would bother me to see, well, what did I do? It would bother me to see you made me vanish. It would bother me to see I cried and you lied. And it would bother me to see, was it worth it? That one might be the worst one, because was it worth it? It couldn't have been. Especially if, how Chris, hey, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom, Chris and Katie love to play the violin for themselves, right? So, I mean, was it worth it? Megan says, I tell CP that he got Seth sloppy seconds, but he would probably punish KP for it. Well, excuse me. Yeah. CP, that's another, I'm glad that you brought that up, because it made me think that, like, again, I don't think CP is going to be somebody that's going to stay for the long haul. You know what I mean? I do think that he might be looking for wife number 6. And another thing that I listened to when I re-listened to what Seth said today, just to kind of put it into perspective after I listened to the one and the other, he said something that really stuck with me. He said Chris wasn't looking for wife number 6. He was looking for a punching bag. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Wholeheartedly. Because that's exactly what you are to a man like Chris Proudfoot, in my opinion. Oh, Chronicles of the Shady. I like Chronicles of the Shady. I've been following them for a while. Sasha says, that's what we need. That's what we needed. That's all they care about. It's awesome, sweet. We found their weak spot. Oh, wait. Ain't life grand? Hey, Sasha. Good to see you. Well, and it wouldn't bother them if they didn't have anything to do, in my opinion. So, yeah. She's in line. Oh, goodness. I don't know. I think there's a couple of people that are crazy enough to entertain that. I am too Bear. I don't think he has anything to offer either. I wouldn't want him around my kids or anything, and that's just another thing that I know that this audio needs to get over to the New Mexico courts. So, Polly's cookies. Yeah. Yeah. just disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting to talk about little kids' areas. Disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. Oh, good. Hey, Jude says no billboards have been taken down. Fantastic. Fantastic. Why would they be when they're being paid for, they've been offered. All I need is Jesus Coffee and True Crime says, in my opinion, Clue plays a lot of Britney's replay and CP watches Clue, and CP is tired of watching Britney. He was basically telling Clue to start doing her own content, in my opinion. That's funny and a very unique perspective. I love that. Well, and I will say, I can agree with that too. I will preface it too with my own experience. People do send you things, right? So I would say a good, especially because I block everything, but a good like 95% of what I see is sent. It's not anything that I would seek out, right? Because you get to the point where you're like, what the hell? Especially when it's this weird messed up stuff. Like I said, that pig mentality of how he was talking to Britney is atrocious, or about her or anything. Same, conversation as whatever you want to however you want to frame it, it's wrong. But yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you have to just wonder, okay, I need to pick my battles. And it seems like he spends way too much time, in my opinion, from what he said, watching Britney. And maybe he needs to do something different. Maybe he needs to pass out flyers or go searching, around the area, spread more awareness. I feel like Chris spends too much time on YouTube, and I feel like he hate watches a lot of people, and then he wants to threaten people and things like that. I mean, he said horrible things about, our friend Chris over there at the Mob Crew. And, I find that to be awful and disgusting. Knowing that somebody has health issues too, and you still have to be rude is just unbelievable to me, especially because we're doing nothing besides speculating and telling our opinions. I've never seen a threat come from the Mob Crew's channel, ever. So it's just weird. Cece says, I don't know why CP thinks he can order to have the billboards taken down. Yeah, and I don't know why anybody on the panel would have, I don't remember who said it, but whoever did, I don't know why they would think that they would have that kind of pull either, Mamadou says, why does CP think those messages are for them? Precisely. And we talked about this last night too. It's funny. I had posted something, and I'll just tell the story really quick. I had posted something on my community wall. It was a repost from someone that I really like her clapbacks, and so I reposted it, which I do post her a lot. And somebody came and messaged me and asked me, if I was talking about them. And then I realized, that they were, it was a message about a snake. And I was like, yeah, that's you all day, afterwards. I didn't know until they were like, was that about me? And I was like, why would that be about you? What are you talking about? I was just reposting, like I repost her stuff all the time. And yeah, so people will tell on themselves because of the guilty conscience. So I thought it was great, Chris bringing that up, himself. Nobody talked about that. He was the one, yelling about a conscience. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so behind. Hey, Tina girl. Good to see you. Welcome in. Everybody's coming in. I'm sorry. I'm behind in the chat. Navy Shellback says it's usually someone in the family and the last person that's seen them. Yeah, thank you, Navy Shellback. I appreciate your comment. I agree with that. I believe that to be true just because statistics tell us that, right? It's not anything I'm just saying to fit a narrative of my own, but it is usually someone in the family and the last person who seen them, right? Because, means motive opportunity. They need, the opportunity to commit a crime, right? And access is the way to have that. So thank you so much. Yeah, Spurt just wants to bring awareness like the rest of us. Absolutely. And I think she does a good job of it. You know what I mean? Megan L says, there's so much bad in there. It's very hard for a normal brain to comprehend. I agree. I do. It is pathetic, Lori. I agree. It's ridiculous. Hey, Sammy, good to see you. All right, guys, we will go ahead and read. We'll do this next clip here. Sorry, I got behind in the comments. Poppy Love says, the more he has gone on and on with this. Yeah, he just keeps going and going. Cece, I do think that he's a narcissist. Hey, Rogue, I do think he is. He definitely has the characteristics. We see him acting absolutely strange. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, it was strange how CP wanted to take that girl to her hotel and to show her around today after court, and KP saying she trusts him. I would walk to Alaska before I let CP take me anywhere. Yeah, that's odd on both parts. I did not hear that, so that is news to my ears. I did not know. I think they have an open. I will just say, guys, in my opinion, and I might be wrong, but it seems to me like they have an open relationship. I don't think that it's, I think it's open. I'll just leave it at that. Just my opinion, though, from what I've heard. Rogue says that the Britney issue has been going on long before Chris Proudfoot. They attack her just because they know she does YouTube for a job, and he doesn't like anyone in despair because it's weak. Therefore, that's so terrible. That's terrible, Rogue. Thank you for letting me know. I didn't realize that. Thank you, Debutante. Good to see you. No, you're totally fine. You are totally fine. I'm glad to have you. Mental gymnastics go with the verbal gymnastics. Absolutely. There's just so many. Just so many. Puppy love. Why can't people just ignore Rogue? I don't know. It's awful. I mean, unless it's something like super bad, right? You kind of have to gauge it too. You can't really be dramatic about every single thing that comes in. Like, oh my God. Oh no, they said this. Oh my God. Because if you do, you're just going to wear yourself down. You cannot do that. You have to pick it out. Is this, threatening language or whatever? Are they doing something horrible? What is the motive? Figure that out really fast, and then figure out what to do next. Find a solution for it, move on. Reporting it is the best practice, in my opinion. But yeah, don't let it consume, and you just can't let it do that to you. Then they win. Again, Seth said it the best. Sebastian doesn't have time for it. It's not worth Sebastian's time. And that's what they do from us creators who talk about Sebastian, is pull us away from him, pull us away from our subject, pull us away from who we're really trying to spread awareness for. They've done it, I've had it happen to me with Crystal McCrory Jones's case. Just it's awful. Holly S says there's a Kathy Page case in Texas. Her father put a very similar billboards that have been up for 20 years. They got a lot of attention. Yeah, they do. And you know what, Holly S., thank you for mentioning that. That is so smart. I have seen controversial billboards before. Again, we talked about Crystal McCrory Jones and her sister Jana putting up billboards in their area, right, in Louisiana. And there were people that didn't want them to be put up. And hers doesn't say anything controversial on it. It just says justice for, Crystal. So yeah, it doesn't, they don't have any, really good slogans, if you will, I guess is the way that I would call it, or statements. But yeah, it's like the more controversial, the more you're going to get people to think, and I think it's so important for us to all think about this. We have to keep thinking about it. Oh, good night, Anne. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. I'm very happy about it too, Sasha. I think they were well done. And I think also when you can do a well done job of it, and it makes people think. I really do. Cece says, I know all about men like CP. They're weak on the inside. Why he lashes out towards mainly women. I agree 100%. Yes, absolutely, Cece. And I understand. Yeah. Sasha says, why wouldn't they drop him off at Seth's? Why were they hiding? I don't know. I don't know. That's where I kind of get stumped myself, on motive. Rogue says he shouldn't be around children because of his temper until he can get that under control. Well, and Rogue, I agree with that. And it's something that was supposed to have been taken care of with the anger management, but it doesn't look like that was helping at all. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, I wonder if Nina keeps up with all of CP's shenanigans on YouTube. If I was her, I would use it against him. I hope she's heard this most recent outburst. I really, really hope she has. Oh, really, Sammy? SF wrote a letter to billboards. What? Oh my gosh. That guy needs to have a seat. Juice box, crayon, whole 9 yards. Hey, Borna Honey, good to see you. Okay, so here we go, guys. Oh, thank you, Rogue. We're going to go ahead and play this next clip before I get too behind in these comments. I just love reading your guys' comments, and I like to give attention because you guys have really great comments, and I hate to miss one. Okay, we'll go ahead and play this next one.
Well, the dam just broke. Sorry, Chris. Folded hands, medium skin tone, growing heart.
So, but then again, you've got an intelligence agency that doesn't have a license, who has a Chinese descendant, if he is even a U.S. citizen. Hell, he could be a national Chinese or China, whatever the fuck he is. So how the fuck is he going to be part of an intelligence agency? He's not. That ought to let everybody fucking in on something. You can't be a foreign national without being part of an agency, and at night ain't shit. I said it. Fuck off. Eat a dick. And Nick, I'm the one that called you a fucking parole officer, bitch. Not them. Me.
So let me just recap for a second. At Night Intelligence is helping to search for Sebastian. Dog the Bounty Hunter is as well. Nick and Hong work for At Night. Those are the two individuals. Hong being the individual he is calling a Chinese national that could not be employed with At Night, which is false. Also, that At Night does not like the reward of $500,000 almost. Rewards incentivize people to call, spark interest in the media, and solve cases. Why would a stepfather not want that? Why would he be insulting the people who are searching for Sebastian? Why wouldn't he want an intelligence agency helping? Why wouldn't he want a bounty hunter and celebrity with far reach and amazing audience who can raise such awareness? And why would you want all the bulletin boards taken down? They're set up in Tennessee, in Mississippi. You drive to Horn Lake, you see them. You drive back, they're seen. Drive to Nashville, they're seen. Drive to Memphis, they're seen. That is amazing awareness, and I can't understand not wanting them up. However, it becomes an issue here in a little bit. He starts talking about the bulletin boards. Just a little recap. So he doesn't like the reward. It's a joke. He doesn't like the intelligence agency, says they don't have a license. He's making fun of the people who work for it. Dog the Bounty Hunter, with all the celebrity and raise of the reward and awareness he's brought in, he doesn't like him. and he doesn't want the bulletin boards up that are all over, raising awareness and putting Sebastian's name and face out there. Make it make sense.
What's up, Queen?
Oh my God! Hey, what's up?
If anyone has the right to
Hi,
fight
lady.
back,
How are you?
it's Chris.
Good. How you doing, man?
I had enough. I had enough.
It's up today.
Let me snipe you.
All you motherfuckers out here want to play. Let's play. Everybody's got my fucking address.
Well, they've been by your house a million times, you know.
But they ain't got the balls to stop.
No, that shit's crazy. And I don't think you should feel bad for popping. I mean, it's been over a fucking year. And you know what's funny to me? BJ sits there with that fucking victim mentality. How would you feel if you were just being dogpiled all the time? Bitch, what the fuck do you think that Chris and Katie have gone through for over a fucking year? You've been dealing with my loudmouth personally for a few, maybe months. I don't even know if it's been that long. A fucking year, bro.
Chris needed
Shut
that.
up.
And so did they. Can I get another amen?
Non-stop at all of them.
Well, her level of intelligence ought to tell you something. When she joins this bullshit deal in Pennsylvania, can't even talk to a fucking attorney. He won't even call her back. Like, what fucking person has an attorney you can't talk to, you can't get a phone call back from? You're fucking retarded. Yeah, I said it. And if it hurts your fucking feelings, so fucking be it.
Wow. The R word. The
I'll
step,
add it, Truth.
the step,
Oh my God!
Get your own content, silly legs. Try something new.
the stepfather allegedly called Sebastian an R also.
You guys are making a lot of shit, though. You guys get talked about daily. You get lied on daily. I mean, oh my God! How much can one person take? You know?
Mad respect to
Now they got
Chris
these
for defending
billboards
his
up
family
talking
heart.
shit.
Well, that's just their little try to do a smear campaign. Well, have your fucking smear campaign all you fucking want.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying.
So, in my opinion, this is not a smear campaign. We are expected to believe that you never called Sebastian the R word, but you got so angry that you spouted off, and I guess you were calling Brittany J the R word. It's absolutely vomidocious and completely, it's just a complete trash move, right? It's a complete trash move by someone who is expecting us to believe and say that you allegedly called Sebastian that. Yet here you are using that word and saying if it hurts your feelings, so what? Juvenile. Again, when are we going to grow up? When? Because a smear campaign, for those of you who don't know, or just to correct Chris, because he's in very big need of correction when it comes to many of these big words, or phrases in this case. A smear campaign is where somebody is trying to make other people not like you, and they're spreading lies about you. So they're smearing your name, right? So they're telling you things like, that person smells. Just for an example, let's just keep it as juvenile as they're being right now. You know, oh, well, that person smells really, really bad. Don't be friends with that person. You know, and that person's just a horrible person. I mean, all they ever do is, you know, they're just a mess. You know, they leave clothes everywhere, and you know, I mean, there's tons of ways to sit there and smear somebody and to just dog them out, right? Just outright dogging them out. But when it comes to Chris, he says these things and the public reacts, right? The court of public opinion reacts because he says them in a public platform, in a public way. But we are expected to believe that he's never used this word on Sebastian. I don't think so. No, if you're willing to say that about anybody publicly when you're angry, then you must have gotten angry at some point and said that, and that's why the neighbors are alleging this. You know, and we're expected to believe that that's not true because you say it's not true, but then here you are using that word and saying, yeah, so what, I used it, big deal. Big deal. If you're hurt by it, so what? I mean, come on. What a cornballs. Rogue says. But SF. Crafting and True Crime says, couponing, I don't know, it was on a live. I think it was Seth something. Sorry, guys, I probably missed that one. Let me go back a little bit up here. Poppy Love says, who's paying for the billboards? The more Chris bitches, the more billboards are going up. I think I read Hong say. Do you think there's a part 2 strategy? 1, find Sebastian, and 2, attempt at, let's see, continuing attempt to rile Chris up more to get them saying more incriminating things. What do you think? I honestly, I think that is part of the strategy. Yes, I think that could definitely be the strategy. And I say that because it seems like they want to apply the pressure. And the more pressure they apply, the better results they're going to get. And I think that's shown by the response we've gotten just out of the billboards that have only been up for a couple of days, to my knowledge. Remember, CP said Sebastian likes it. Remember that? Yep, I sure do, Sasha. I sure do. CP acts like he's never seen a Chinese person. What an idiot. Yeah, no kidding, Holly S. He's super racist. You know what I mean? Let's just be honest. And then, I'm glad that you said that, Holly, because, I wrote down Hong. He's talking about Hong being a foreign nationalist. He doesn't even say it correctly. And the only reason that I put 2 and 2 together is because I've dealt with this kind of stupidity and ignorance myself. But CP spouts off, and after he calls Hong a foreign nationalist, then he spouts off and he says, I called Nick's parole officer, and calls him the B word, which is far from the truth. But again, Hong's political affiliations in China don't have anything to do with, and that's just alleged what CP's saying, calling him a foreign nationalist of China. It doesn't compute to anything that Hong is saying on X. It's just an underhanded, ignorant comment from a bigot, in my opinion. And I'm sorry, and it's not even like a funny, lovable kind, like say Archie Bunker or something. It's like a crude, rude, just ignorant person, and it's so wrong. So thank you, Holly S, for kind of bringing me back to that point, because he acts like he never saw anybody of a different race than him. It's weird, especially since he served in the military. Yeah, well, and I think Hong is a good person. I think he's funny as hell. Thank you, Holly S. I know I have to get, oh gosh, my emails, guys. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Psychic Amelia. Good to see you, Psychic Amelia. Yes. Hong got to him, Mama Dukes. He sure did. And God love him for it, because you know what? That's what needs to happen here. Chris wants it all to go away. He wants us all to shut up and stop talking about Sebastian. And allegedly, in my opinion, mark my words. You know, it's crazy. Um, CP doesn't want the billboards up. And Jay said this, you know, make it make sense. She was so funny. She, you know, just the way she said it is kind of sometimes the tone that I take, you know, like, okay, just make it make sense. Like, he doesn't want the billboards up. Like, what's wrong with the billboards? You know, what's this guy's deal? Um, and then CP talks about people having no balls, which is disgusting. Um, Clue thinks that she has to show others how the feet feel. And it's very weird to me. So I wrote that down because she's like, how do you think Chris and Katie feel? Well, guess what? Our kid didn't go missing from our home. So it's not even comparable. And in my opinion, it's not her job to sit there and harass other people for the proud feet, but she's been doing it for a long time, admittedly. And she goes on to admit that she has been harassing BJ. You know, so there's that. You know, I mean, it's their words. I'm not, you know, putting words in anybody's mouth. I'm just reviewing what we're listening to and kind of what my perspective is. Poppy Love says we are getting more attention about Sebastian locally in the past couple of months than over the past year. Oh, really, Poppy? At first, when Sebastian went missing, people knew and helped, but over the last year, local people weren't kept up on Sebastian as much as we tried to keep posts up in businesses. This year, more people realize he's still missing and seeing C and K. Mm-hmm. That's interesting, Poppy. Thank you for sharing that. And I can see that somehow. That makes a lot of sense to me, you know. And Megan L says, he has a thing with China. Remember him being pissed and asking, what does that have to do with the price of eggs in China? He sure did. Oh my gosh. Yes, Megan. He did say that. Okay, on Web Sleuths, he said, what does that have to do with the price of eggs in China? Like, he was all upset. What a psycho. And, you know, that's weird. Thank you for that reminder, because that is very strange. And that was before At Night or any, you know, that's before we were introduced to Hong or Nick or anybody. I mean, Nick came on the scene first, and then he's always threatening Sasha. He sure is. Hey, couponing. And Sasha says, so no one ever stopped to see. Vanna, good to see Vanna. The At Night on X just threatened Chris and Katie, calling them out by name with a big lawsuit. Oh, really? Just now, tonight? Just on X tonight? Rogue 100 says Holly. Cinderella says, how does he know this? Because he is stalking Brett. Yeah, I mean, he blatantly said that, and he said that he was going to go after her kids too. Like, what an actual... I mean, that's why I was calling him Norman Bates, you know, from Psycho. And he's got the thing with his mother. He's got, like, that Oedipus complex thing going on or whatever. Like, crazy mama relationship. Crafting and True Crime says couponing was that what we were looking for. Oh, sorry, guys. Thanks, Poppy, for sharing that, because, you know, I was wondering how local people felt. I definitely think about the people that live there, and I, you know, they're in my thoughts and prayers, because I know it's got to be hard. Like, we all want to feel like our neighborhood is safe, right? When that sense of safety is kind of shaken, it's not fun. What smear campaign? Sasha, exactly. What smear campaign? He smeared himself. Absolutely, he smeared himself. I mean, it's all his words. I've never reviewed anything and, you know, put any words in Chris's mouth. It's always been playing his clips and then me, you know, talking about him. Couponing says, watch Deception Detective on when CP's last seen Sebastian. Listen closely to his answer. Oh, I will, couponing. Deception Detective. I do like that guy, and he's another one that I don't get to catch as much. Oh, that's cool. Crafting and true crime. Yeah, you can email that and I'll get it over. Or you guys, make sure you email me too. Um, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, wow, and people saying that Seth spoke so much worse than CP. Well, I think it just makes sense now. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody's statements were worse than the others, except for the fact that, again, we see Chris threatening women, but Seth wasn't threatening women. He was threatening Chris. Right? No, I mean, just to be honest, I'm not trying to throw Seth under the bus at all. I'm just saying that his goal and his target was to make sure that Chris understood his point of view and that he wasn't happy with him, right? And then you have Chris, who is trying to let Brittany know, and Nick and Hong and Dog the Bounty Hunter. He's calling them names, but mainly going after Brittany in the beginning. So again, I just find it to be a lot more fitting when it comes from Seth, because I mean, obviously, he's going after Chris. He's not saying, well, you, this person, this person, this person. I know that he did mention, the breastfeeding thing, which was kind of funny. But, it's more like pop that titty out and, be a big boy. You know what I mean? Like, so again, he was upset and it made sense. You know what I mean? It made more sense to me, what Seth was talking about after I listened to what CP said. So I'm going to do like a mashup for you guys. So that way you can hear kind of back and forth, what, why Seth had said what he said, what Chris said, and then what Seth said. Cause that would be better perspective. And I know that we did it like ass backwards, so I apologize. Yeah, he 100% smeared himself, Sasha, for real. I mean, Holly S. Vomitocious, it's so nasty. Cinderella. Oh my goodness. And I've called, CP a man baby. I have, no, I haven't seen Hindsight's latest post. I have not. I saw Hindsight in Betty, her chat earlier, because I went in her chat just to, show her some love and support, because I do agree with freedom of speech, and I do agree with standing up for what's right and what's right for the missing children, and what Betty's doing for Sebastian, Elias, don't get pervy. We're not pervy. And I was looking for 2 days for that other video. I know it's so hard to put all the videos together. I've been working on something too, and it's just so hard to get them all together. Hey, Have Faith 365, good to see you. They should play that in court. I think so. I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if they didn't. I think this was just to, it was more or less to continue it to another court hearing or a trial. Again, I'm not as versed in what happened. I just wanted to go in there and say, I support Bullhorn Betty. Yeah, Sasha, we know Sebastian was way smarter, practically already a good person, and the guy's not something, in my opinion. Well, and that's the thing. I think, and I did say this in like my earlier videos, I believe that Chris was jealous of Sebastian, and narcissists will be jealous of people that they're close to. It's a very toxic trait, and I believe that he was jealous of, who Sebastian was, how wonderful he is, how polite he is, how much people like him, how much time maybe Katie dedicated to him, things like that. So Absolutely. I think he was jealous, and I think he's not half what Seth said last night hit the nail on the head for me, in my opinion. Hello, Here for the Truth. Here for the Truth says if he had nothing to do with it, then those billboards wouldn't be a smear campaign. Also, the word rolls off his tongue too easy for him not to use it towards Sebastian. Absolutely. And I think that's really important to remember, because it just kind of like, spilled out. And he's like, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Yeah. So he thinks that, people, and again, when Seth said last night, that's an insult to people who have, mental delays or disabilities and things like that. It definitely is. Thank you so much. I so appreciate that comment. And I agree 100%. It wouldn't be looked at as a smear campaign at all. And in my opinion, when we look at the statements on there, they're true statements. I cried, you lied. He did. He told there were five CPS reports, right? 4 CPS reports, 5 CPS reports. Tomato, really. Rogue says that word is not even about low intelligence. It's being used for slang, which is a diagnosis for special needs. How dare him? My mother worked with special needs adults as a nurse. I agree, Rogue, and I think it's awful, and I think it's a derogatory term, right? We all know that, it's a derogatory term, and it's very juvenile. You know what I mean? You learn to use bigger words and more descriptive words as we get older, and not, those low blows. And they just posted more going up. Ooh, Holly. Oh, okay. Poppy Love says, continued again. People locally are realizing Sebastian still hasn't been found after a year and 15 months now, and seeing CP and KP for who they are, in my opinion. The more CP yells, more people. Absolutely, Poppy. Yes, yes. Okay, just going to listen. Love you all. I just can't type on my phone right now tonight. No, thank you, Poppy. I appreciate you telling us that, because like I said, I do. I keep people in mind. I really do. I think about the locals. The guy's salty. Salty. Super salty. Mama says, I can't believe that CP still has people who are defending him. To me, the folks who support and defend him are just as bad as he is. I agree, Poppy, or excuse me, Mama. I agree. They're just as bad as he is. His outbursts make me wonder how he reacted when he got mad at Sebastian. Absolutely. It shows his true colors, and it shows exactly, what happens when he gets really, really mad, right? He doesn't have any type of, stop or anything like that. So, that's, it's a very toxic personality to deal with. You know what I mean? It's a very toxic personality to deal with. Oh, thank you. Here for the Truth. I love your lives. You're so sweet, smart, and chill. You guys are so chill too. I love talking with you guys, and you guys are so smart, and everything that we kind of go and bounce around. I love it. So thank you. Thank you so much. Rogue says his words are phantom. Oh goodness, phantasmagorical. There we go. Love it. Google it, y'all. Google it. CC says I hit the send button before I went to, because I'm laying down on my side. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, CC. Oh my goodness. Hearing his anger yesterday triggered me to go back a day I wanted to forget. Going back to a day I wanted to forget. Couponing. And that's the thing. It's so recognizable to people who have been through it, or people who have been married to a person who has narcissistic personality disorder, um, you know, possible psychopathy, but it's very triggering, and I'm so sorry. You know, but when you just recognize it, and it's just absolutely awful. Thank you, Lori. It will be interesting to see how Nick the Hat reacts to CP calling his parole officer. Well, I'm guessing that was like a while back, whenever that happened, Cece, I think. My opinion, I think that's horrible. He didn't do anything. Why would you call his parole officer for talking about a missing child? I would think that would fall somewhere under like community service or something. I mean, come on. It's absolutely ridiculous. But people love to do that, and they love to put their bad onto other people, especially toxic individuals like Chris Proudfoot, in my opinion. And Adam Forever 21 says, so sad, and still no Sebastian, just so sad. I agree, Adam Forever 21. It is so sad. It is so sad. But I'm hoping this pressure that we're seeing that's being applied will help. Hey, Sherry. Sherry says he's gone ballistic like a rabid dog foaming at the mouth. He has, and throwing those fits, and it's not helpful. It's not grown up of him. And he goes onto these platforms where they allow for it. Only. Town Chat Cafe says, has it ever been determined what that man that attended the vigil, what he saw when he said that it's bad, it's really bad? What did he see? What did he say? Why did he say that? So Town Chat Cafe, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. So it's my understanding that it was Chris and Katie's neighbor that kind of live to the side, kind of behind them, where their backyard would show Chris and Katie's kind of back grass kind of area, right? But it's a neighbor of Chris and Katie's, a law enforcement officer who was at the vigil, allegedly, according to some of the neighbors, that they had right when Sebastian went missing. And he had left the vigil allegedly saying, crying and saying that it is so bad, it's so bad. I don't know what he could have saw, but I know that he was involved in search efforts, and also it said that he was allegedly at the command center as well. So he may have been privy to some of the goings on, when it comes to, more intimate knowledge, if you will. But yeah, in all the research that I had done, I myself saw somebody that in this neighbor that has probably a really good heart, and probably is just as devastated as everybody else. But it has been alleged that he did not, or that particular home did not turn in camera footage. I don't know if that is a true statement, but I have heard that it's been alleged. And I know that there is a friendship between Chris and Katie, or excuse me, between Katie and this neighbor. So, all alleged, in my opinion, from my research that I did, kind of independently. But my opinion of that person, of the neighbor, seems like a decent human being who is probably just as heartbroken about the situation, especially, based on what the neighbors had said. So, yeah, a total prick move to do that, CC and Lori. Absolutely. Totally. I think it's awful. I really appreciate the efforts of of Nick and Dog and everybody. And I just love Jay. She was so funny, just the way how matter of fact she was. These are, again, reminder, these are the people that are helping find Sebastian, that are putting in efforts, that are putting in time, who are coming up with this. And so, yeah. Mm. It's crazy. It's crazy. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom says, I still stand by my idea that CP sits in his recliner sitting or getting intoxicated and call in. I just can't rationalize the words coming out of his mouth any other way. I agree. I agree with that. CC Norman Banks or Norman Bates. I agree with that. Because who in their right mind would who in their right mind would do any of that, right? So I can see him kicking back in that recliner and, Mama Duke says Norman Bates says great after yesterday, you betcha. Yeah, Mama Dukes, I'm telling you, it's like, what the heck? He's and then with the mom connection, I mean, there's a definite mom connection. Um, oh no, he said, what does that have to do with the price of eggs in China? Oh no, Rogue. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh, I'll tell you. And sometimes you just see those characteristics. You know what I mean? I was surprised that CP actually said it right this time, because usually he kind of botches those, euphemisms up and the different metaphors that he tries to use. So he actually got that one, so we'll give him a point. Cece says Cece says CP needs to go back to work and do something instructive with himself and stay off of YouTube. I agree with that 100%, Cece. I do. Sammy says Deception Detective just asked Hong on X if the mini excavator Sebastian was in had been accounted for. Oh. Was that theirs or did they rent it? Because I know that you can rent the mini excavators. I don't know but with them having construction. That's interesting, Sammy. Thank you for sharing. Wow, that's interesting. Oh yes, Hong. Okay, guys, I have one more clip I want to play for you guys. Hey, Tam, good to see you. Oh, no. Oh, thank you, Tam. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. Aw, better late than never. That's right. You're just a wizard. When you're late, you're a wizard around here. You just arrive precisely when you mean to. And Megan L says, in my opinion, CP should have gone, or excuse me, should have had a word to say about Sebastian being missing. He allegedly wasn't there and he isn't his parent. That is so true. It is odd that he inserts himself into it. That is a great point, Megan Els. It really is. It is a great point because it brings into question, if he wasn't there, then how is he speaking for everybody? He has minimal knowledge to the situation when he wasn't there. So that is strange. But then, of course, he puts himself on the phone with Katie, or she puts him on the phone too with her. And so, that kind of puts him back into the mix. But I agree. It's just, yeah. He should never have a word to say about Sebastian being missing. He allegedly wasn't there, isn't his parent. I agree. And he didn't act like a parent either, in my opinion, He's dangerous in my opinion too, Holly S. Absolutely. Absolutely dangerous. Absolutely. His horrific outbursts show me why none of his ex-wives have come forward. Absolutely. And it solidifies what other people have said about him, in my opinion, too. It solidifies what Nina has said about him, in my opinion, too. So absolutely. Absolutely. You never suspected CP, Halia says. Yeah, and I mean, and there's a good chance that he didn't have anything to do with it at all. And oh, thank you, Bless. That's so sweet of you. Bless says, thank you, Lady Freedom, for keeping the focus on Sebastian. You're a blessing. Aw, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I do. I do. I appreciate you. And yeah, I just want to keep it on Sebastian. I know that it's probably, you know, not not everybody's idea to do it, but I think it's important. We have to. All of this other crap doesn't matter. Oh, bless, that's so sweet. You guys are the best chat in true crime, I'll tell you that much. You guys are amazing. Thank you. I miss you guys so much, just being off the couple of days. That was like, ugh, I did not like it. And Sasha says, so he didn't produce the footage, but said that this and law enforcement. Yeah, wait a minute, that's obstruction. Where's the video? Well, and that's what I heard. I heard that in the beginning, it was said that in the beginning there was camera footage that was being given and people were putting their addresses along with it per the request of Chris and Katie, but that everybody had turned the footage in except for that one person. That's what's being alleged. So thanks, Meg. Tam says nothing is more wretched than the mind of a man, his conscience, yeah, somebody who of guilt. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why, I agree with that, Tam. I think, that's why he was kind of projecting that out onto all of us. Like, you guys are the ones that don't have a conscience. You're the ones that don't have morals. And it's like, well, why are you putting into question anybody's conscience? Like, it's odd. Cece says, in my opinion, that man lived behind them, and it's KP's special friend may have some extra knowledge of even a part in it. I don't know. I just don't think he does have a part in it. I don't. That doesn't mean he doesn't. You know what I mean? But yes, I've heard similar knowledge of that as well, Cece. Absolutely. Which that's why I kind of wanted to learn a little bit more. But yes, I don't know, Sasha. I don't know what he knows. It was an odd statement. It was a heartfelt, it sounded like a genuine, authentic statement, from, all accounts. Well, and I think that's why people were alleging that CC, yeah, maybe his camera caught something he has not reported. It does make you wonder. And they were turning all of the camera footage over to the Proud Feet too. And of course, I would do the same thing. Why wouldn't you? Their son's missing. It's like you're trying to help them find their son, but Town Chat Cafe says, I was just wondering if he saw him get carried off or what. I just feel that is a piece of the puzzle that has knowledge, yeah, that has not been made public. Well, and, I agree. And we did hear from Bobby, the neighbor. She said that Chris was carrying something over his shoulder. That was in the phone call that was leaked by UA Crimson and Crabtree, right? So, I mean, she alleges that that's what she saw. Meg says, Tam, so true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something to think about. Yeah, Meg, Deception Detective is great. And Vanna says it's supposed to be what does it have to do with the price of tea in China? Oh, it is. The price of eggs in China. Okay, point taken away. Mullet card revoked. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, Vanna, that's too funny. Oh my goodness, the price of tea. Oh man, I don't even know. Oh, Sammy says the song originally came from footage wasn't turned in. Said his camera wasn't working. Right. Yeah. You said that, okay, we'll take the footage anyway. Turns out to have caught pics. And then Lady Freedom enhanced allegedly. See, and that's what it's from the lights video. Yeah, the picture that I enhanced was from the lights video. Yes, thank you, Sammy. I gotta post that one up just because. Yeah, and they said it wasn't working, and then also whenever those lights tripped on, that's why I was like so excited when Chris from Mob Crew did the lights and showed when the motion sensor was tripped off, because that's when we were able to get an image. So thank you, Sammy. Yeah. um He's too pervy to know. I'm not afraid of anybody, including men. I won't deal with any snarkiness anymore. Don't deal with the snarkiness, Rogue, for real, because that's kind of how it starts, doesn't it? Some of that's just like verbal, and then it's just more and more. They don't change. Um, it's not you, it's them. You know what I mean? That's the whole deal. It took me a long time to learn that. Um, it took people coming up to me and telling me things, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, then did it matter how perfect I was? It wasn't gonna ever be good enough. um Sammy says the man allegedly didn't turn in footage because he said cameras weren't turned on and were working on something, and I took them anyway and video. Sorry, LE took them anyway and showed basically a pick lady freedom enhanced, allegedly. Yes, Sammy, thank you. Hey, Max, good to see you. Aw, thanks, Rogue. Aw, you guys are the best. Everyone is wrong except for CP. That's always how it works, too. He's the smartest one. Yeah. Couponing says when he does CP's yesterday's outburst. Oh, God, he's just... Yeah, I've heard that too, Sammy. And Sammy says I've heard all the ex-wives have spoken with law enforcement. I've heard that too. Aw, that's so sweet. Blessed says Megan Ells, thank you. Mods like you really do make channels feel like family. Aw, that's so sweet. You guys are amazing. All right, let's watch one more of these crappy old clips. I only got 4 loaded in because there should be like about 6 clips that I could load in, but I'm going to go ahead and work on them after the live and get them posted as videos so that way you guys can watch them. But I also want to put Seth's rebuttal in there. You know what I mean? So I'm going to do a little mashup for you guys. Thanks, Rogue. For all we know, he could have just said, it's sad, so sad, and whoever reported his comment misheard him. That's true. Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom. Yeah, absolutely. Great point. Thank you for pointing that out, because that's true. It's all alleged. It's hearsay, right? It's all hearsay. Max says, I'm convinced CP talking on some video will be his undoing. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. Even if it's just like a little clip that we could send. I mean, like, I would love to send that conscience one to Craddock and just say, what do you think of that? Isn't that odd that he's bringing up everybody else's conscience? But, with these billboards coming out, that's weird. You know what I mean? That's one of those red flags. Here we go, though, guys. Let me go ahead and we'll play this 4th clip.
No, I mean, I don't think anybody can fucking... If anything, people should really take a hard look and be able to commend you for maintaining for this fucking long without popping. So, yeah.
Well, I am actually gonna kind of pop what's up. All this, right? So yeah, I'm gonna break my grace for once. He's sunk to a whole new fucking low with his Billboard bullshit campaign.
Hey, hold on one second. I think... Can y'all hear us?
I can hear you.
No, I know, but I don't know if they can hear.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, they can hear. Okay, I don't know what the hell happened. I just saw people saying there wasn't no sound. So.
Well, like I said, I'm going to break my little grace thing for a little bit. So, no, I'm not going to bash the shit out of him, but I am going to put this out there for him to hear. For Seth R. Rogers and your little Billboard and your little crew and all your fucking at-night little minions and whatever the fuck y'all want to call TikTok Tony or Little Dick Tony or whatever the fuck y'all want to call the guy. I don't give a shit.
Oh, my
But
God.
I'm going to put this out there, Seth. And what you forgot was your parenting plan still a legal document. And in that parenting plan, it says you cannot talk negatively about the other parent and vice versa. But you seem to do it anyways. So keep it up. You just build evidence for a court hearing. Take the fucking billboards down and stop the bullshit.
Oh, my God.
Those billboards raise awareness.
We got.
I know your parenting plan because I wrote the motherfucker myself. So yeah, the internet can break the fuck today because I'm over it.
We got one billboard down. We're working on getting a couple other ones down. Yeah, that's bullshit what they did. So.
Well, if you notice, that night keeps their little bitch asses in Pennsylvania. Because you know Nick can't leave Delaware County being on parole.
Oh, my God.
And home? Dude, you're so goddamn wide. We know you can only travel between the hours of 6 a.m. and fucking 7 p.m. during daylight hours. We all know heavy hauls and wide loads can only operate during certain hours. So figure out how to roll your ass the fuck down here and come find me.
I have a feeling that's someone who's not going to show up either. Just saying.
Oh no, because his little bitch ass is dodging being served another legal document from the state of California. What's wrong, home? You chicken shit to go to fucking court? Because you know your little bitch ass attorney Lesniak's gonna fucking save you. Because he's probably too goddamn worried about his own fucking license right now.
Oh, my God.
He ought to be.
Oh, my God.
I see some of y'all asking what the billboards say. It ain't nothing worth fucking advertising because they're, quite honestly, imagine where they came from and you can pretty much figure that they're fucking vile. All right? It's just, that's as nice as I can be about it.
I agree with that, FSU girl. That's why Seth signed a 2-year contract for Sebastian to turn 18.
Hey, look, whatever Seth does on that deal, that's his own fucking problem. That ain't mine. It's like this. I'll fight them all. One. All these fucking creators out here just want to play these fucking bullshit games and go after fucking children. Why?
Oh,
Then you want to go after victims. Why? Are your lives that fucking pathetic? You get up every morning and you can't put your pants on one leg at a time and go out and do a productive job, a 9 to 5. You're probably part of society that sits on fucking welfare.
Okay, guys. So yeah, I don't know about anybody that's on welfare. I think that was just like something crazy that he's talking That's weird. And I don't know why he would care about people's personal or financial status. But Max Smith says, I doubt CP gets arrested for any threat. They want his guard down and confidence up. I agree, Max. I agree. That's a really great point. So of course, Cletus, goes ahead and condones Chris's behavior, and then Chris goes ahead and pops off and says, that he's gonna tell us about the billboards, right? And how he's gonna break his grace thing, because Chris, has it in his mind, these, again, delusions of grandeur, and these delusions of him being so nice and kind. He doesn't want to follow the rules, he said. He's tired of having to put the mask up. He'd rather let it fall, in other words. And so he talks about how he wrote up a parenting plan for which, whatever. He wrote up a parenting plan, and that's the one that Katie and Chris will be sticking to. I don't know if Katie was that absent and decided to allow for Chris to write her parenting plan. But, if you've ever been through family court, you submit your parenting plan to the court, and then the other party submits their parenting plan to the court, and then it's decided through the courts what the parenting plan will ultimately be. And so, but he says that he's going to take Seth back to court if he does not take the billboards down, because there is a clause or portion of the parenting plan that states that the parents cannot talk badly about each other, and that if Seth doesn't take the billboards down, he's going to use them as evidence in court, that's saying that he's violating a parenting plan. Now, he goes on and on about this for a while, and I didn't upload the rest of the clips because, like I said, I'm going to put them into a video format for you all. But honestly, it's quite disgusting that he would threaten Seth to take these down, in my opinion, and saying they're violating a parenting plan of a missing child, and that any family court would entertain something so ludicrous is absolutely bonkers to me. And it's just a lot of blowing smoke up of people's asses, in my opinion, and threatening empty threats that he knows that no judge is going to entertain at this juncture. He has a missing child, and he's worried about taking the biological father, who, in my opinion, is the only one making a concerted effort to find his child, to court when a child is absent and missing. It's never going to happen. Yeah, no child, no parenting happening. Thank you, I Am Two Bear. Boom. There you go. Sasha says that this dog is all bark and no bite, and we know that. Look at his arms. Yeah, I can't disagree there. Megan L says she got one billboard down. Okay. Okay. Exactly. Yeah, ain't nobody looking for you, boy. I sure hope the other wives are doing well and leading successful, healthy, happy lives. Me too, Sammy. Me too. And that's all I really want for Nina and Faith. You know what I mean? I want them and the kids, because they've already been so heavily traumatized by Chris and Katie, in my opinion. Let's not forget that Katie is always there by his side, filming and laughing and causing a spectacle of herself. I have so many questions about this too, Sammy. I do too. Cece says, does Chris have body dysmorphia and think he is slim and trim while shaming Hong about his size? Hello, Cece. Thank you. Pot kettle. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, so rude. Zero self-awareness, and this is where I kind of, have that thought as well. So thank you. Zero self-awareness. It's like, to tease somebody else about having um, weight on them, which it doesn't matter. It's what is on the inside that matters more than anything. And but Chris over there thinking that he is like some kind of a stud is delusional, and again, delusions of grandeur. He obviously doesn't take a hard look in the mirror ever. And Megan else says, makes you wonder what kind of person he thinks, or excuse me, makes you wonder what kind of person thinks like that to verbalize it. Exactly. Exactly. Consider the source. Exactly, Meg. Consider the source. And Kathy Bartholomew, thank you for being here. In my opinion, that sounds like a step parent that doesn't want the child found. Furthermore, parenting plan doesn't mean nothing since Sebastian is missing. Absolutely, Kathy, I agree. Sammy says, I don't believe you wrote the parenting plan, but if he did, why does he have even to be involved in that? He has to control everything. Yeah, effing everything. He does. And that's the whole deal, and I can almost like kind of go back to that time, in my brain, and get a visual and be like, okay, was he sitting there controlling the entire situation? Like, this is what we're going to do when we go to court with Seth, because that again shows that there was, a relationship between Chris and Katie during this divorce. He's saying that he wrote the parenting plan. So then he's saying that he had something to do with the parenting plan or was involved in framing it out. So yeah, absolutely. He's a control freak. Yeah, the worst person on earth, in my opinion. Oh, sorry guys. Whoop, sorry guys. Plus Clue is a big girl herself he's talking to. Right, Cece, yeah, and that's the thing. Thank you for saying that, because, that's another thing too. She's very, very hard on herself. Super low self-worth and esteem. And then for him to be up there talking about that, it's just kind of also rude to the hostess, if you will. Yeah. Yeah, Meg says, with all the bad he's said, that's the top worst because only a sick person thinks that way, in my opinion. I agree. I am Two Beer says, well, he's on the tube with people who sit home and stream half the day. Okay, welfare, Yeah, absolutely, I am Two Bear. And it's just very rude. Like, it's not easy to come up with a show, especially when you come up with talking points and you're you're working on a show. It's difficult. It's not easy. And when you're making money on YouTube, the more money that you make on YouTube, the less, you're going to get on food stamps or anything like that. So I don't even know who he was referring to, because I'm pretty sure that Brittany J's channel probably, is as successful as it seems like it is. And so I don't think she is on welfare. So I don't know who he's talking about. Super vile, Sammy, super vile. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I am too bad. That's what I was saying. How did he write the parenting plan if he wasn't with Katie during the divorce? Yep. And the truth comes out little by little, Yeah. Cece says, our parenting plans written by attorneys or paralegals. King Chris just thinks he controls everything. Yeah, I mean, my experience with it was that, well, and I have only been married one time, divorced one time. Well, I was divorced twice, once in the Catholic Church, once in the family court. But the attorneys usually will allow you to kind of stipulate, right? So what you would want from your parenting plan, and then, both parties will present it to the judge, in my, experience. So I'm sure, maybe if it was similar to that in California, I don't know how it works in California, but, say Seth would have given his parenting plan in, Chris would, excuse me. Sorry. In theory, Katie would have given hers, and then the judge would have decided, based on that. So very interesting. It is, Meg. Very, very interesting. Yeah, Vonna says he loves to threaten people with lawfare. It's looking like some people have had enough and may turn the tables on him and give him a dose of his own medicine. I hope so, because this was absolutely, again, vomitocious. It was uncalled for and definitely needs the ear of law enforcement, the eyes on it, because, these weren't, this wasn't just like, one thing that was said, like, Brittany's a real, whatever, and I can't stand the way she blah blah blah, and leave it at that. It was like, very aggressive, nonstop, manner, in my opinion. Way overboard, disgusting. He's a pig. The way that he talked about her, and I would get him for sex harassment, right? I'd have got him for that. Yeah, that's what I would be going for, because when you have a person like Chris Proudfoot that goes there, I think it should be taken seriously. Sammy says crickets. It's criticizing literally the people he's talking to on panel. Right, Sammy, exactly. Most people who are at home listening to YouTube on Tuesday are in school, on disability, or creators who have to pay taxes. Absolutely. Yeah, I have taxes taken out of mine. And then I'll do everything, myself. I just file my own taxes. So I just set it up. Yeah, absolutely. Sammy, you're so right. Thanks, Lori. Thank you for the green hearts. We just gotta always remember Sebastian Strong, Mama Cedar Street says, CP, you talking about yourself and your clan, you're confused, boy. That parenting plan was made in California, I believe. Yeah, it was. To my knowledge too, Mama Cedar Street. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, he never listens to his disgusting rants. He needs to. Hey, Tony Fire, good to see you, my friend. So glad you're here. Good morning. Good morning. And Vonna says, you're right, Mama Cedar. When this child is removed from the state, it breaks custody laws, etc. They have to make new ones in a new state. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and don't get me wrong. That is, it shouldn't have to be in a parenting plan. But, you do see stipulations in parenting plans like that. It's unhealthy to talk bad about the other person, and no matter how much you think that you're accomplishing by doing that, typically the children will get upset at the other parent for doing that, right? Because kids don't want the parents to fight. They love both parents equally. And so it's a precarious situation to put the child in. And then also just remembering that, if you do try to smear your ex, or if you're just constantly talking bad about your ex to the child internalizes that, and it's unhealthy for them, so it's just something to remember. A lot of people, if you're in a tumultuous situation, it's very difficult. And then we've talked about this before here too. Kids are super smart, intuitive. Don't ever underestimate them. Don't ever underestimate the urge that they may find themselves in to eavesdrop, especially when they know that things are not right in the home, right? So they might listen and, I went through it, you might be listening when you're on the phone and you look over, you're like, oh my gosh, I hope you didn't hear what I just said. You know what I mean? And then you learn to be very private. So I understand that. And I know that it is in the best interest of the child not to bash, the parents in front of the kids, but it's difficult. If a parent is misbehaving, at that point, it's very difficult, in terms of a DV situation, or in terms of a parent that is acting completely unhinged, or, when we see how Sebastian's environment was based on what Seth has said about what he saw in the CPS reports based on the counseling reports and things like that. There's a more clear picture that Sebastian's home environment was not healthy, right? It was toxic even. And so yeah. Yeah, the clause means they will not talk bad about the other child. But good luck trying to take somebody to court for that. You know, you're not going to be taking somebody to court violating a parenting plan when the child is missing. It's just never going to happen. It's actually, you know, that's where we run into this where it's almost comical, right? If it wasn't so disgusting, it would be comical. You know. Oh, thank you, Tomchat Cafe. Not that it matters now since it is now. I still sent you the link in your email. Thank you so much, Tomchat Cafe. Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so behind on some of this stuff and my emails. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Tony Fire, it went well for BHB today. They're moving it to the higher court. Yeah, thanks, Meg. Thank you. Yeah. Someone said it was good. It's going to higher court because she can show evidence. Exactly, Holly S. And Judge Ron Blanton has recused himself from the case, right? That was the judge that, you know, many of us thought was unfair, biased with the Proud Feet. So, I mean, I think it was definitely a great, yeah, it was a great outcome, right? Because she's going to be able to, you know, defend herself in a way that hopefully will be in an unbiased court with people who are willing to look at the facts in the matter, in my opinion. Megan L says he should be reported for taking sex on minors, in my opinion. Oh, absolutely, Meg. Oh, absolutely. Tony Fire says, in my opinion, CP is having nightmares, as that billboard says. It is as it is, and that big dollar sign makes him nervous. He does not want more attention on this. Absolutely, Tony. I agree 100,000% with that. You are so right. And he does not want it. Yeah, CP took full advantage of this. And Meg says, in my opinion, it's because they have to prove their statements that they wrote for the orders of protection, which they won't be able to. Right. And there's proof that TB was following BHB. You know, we have that. We have that proof. She has that proof. Sasha says that's a great point. I believe CP took advantage of this. Oh, absolutely. CC says, Lady Freedom, I swear your day job as a therapist, you're so smart about these things. You know, it's just, thank you, CC. It's just about, it's just because I've been through a lot of it, you know what I mean? And but I think that, you know, being able to recognize it and things like that, I can see that with a lot of you all, you know, so thank you so much for the Purple Heart. And like, I know that a lot of us have experienced a lot of similar situations, even in other chats. You know, maybe I'll be in the bushes and listening, just, you know, if I have a few minutes or whatever, and I'll see people in the chat saying things like, you know, boy, I was married to a guy just like CP, you know, and it's like, wow. It's amazing how many times I've seen that comment, and it resonates with me, you know what I mean? So, but you're so sweet, Cece. Thank you. Thanks, Meg. Thank you. Sasha says Sebastian may have also been very fearful and wanted to know what these people were saying, considering all of the abuse and unwanted feelings. I agree, Sasha. You know, I always kind of go back to when Katie said that Sebastian would like to dip behind walls and then pop out and scare her. I always wondered how much of that was Sebastian hiding kind of behind just trying to listen in, because, you know, it is when you know that you're kind of being talked about as a kid, you know, especially if he was aware that they were looking to place him somewhere, he could have been on high alert during that time, you know, just thinking like, you know, where are they going to send me? You know, I would be thinking that. I mean, you know, so yeah, thank you, Sasha. I agree that that's, you know, like a direct correlation to that. Tony says, Meg, I hope BHB gets it sorted out. Yeah, and this man gets what he deserves. Absolutely, Tony. And here he is, Tony has court the next day, and he's up there threatening Brittany J. I mean, how gross. How blatant, do you have to be? And then he goes, oh, thanks, couponing. Thank you. Okay, I just wrote down that Tennessee code. Thank you. But yeah, how bold and brazen do you have to be to turn around and do that right before you have court? Very smart and very alert, Sasha. I agree. And Sebastian enjoyed strategizing, right? He did that for fun, so even to put that into perspective. And Tony says, what beats me is if you hear someone has been married 3 or 4 times, you should know time to run, and there must be something wrong with him. Yeah, well, and and sometimes, people have bad luck in love, and you might think, well, that person, they've been through a lot or something like that. But I think there is something to be said, Tony, about the way that somebody might just jump into that and not even think about it, kind of moves really fast with every relationship. And then, of course, a lot of that doesn't work out then, because it's just jumping back and forth, So, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, he is. He is something else. He really is. He just kind of, he's just one of those people that, like Cece was saying, you kind of know him when you see him. You kind of if you've dealt with them before. I mean, it's just like classic. But they think they're original. That's what kills me about Chris, or guys like Chris, is that, he kind of thinks like this is the first time anybody's ever done something like this. And then, when you go through like therapies and things like that, you realize that these behaviors are very common with people, that have narcissism and things like that. And so it's kind of like, it's weird that they don't recognize it within themselves, especially because there's a lot out there. Even, just YouTube in general has a lot of videos that you can go look up, and it'll say like narcissistic traits, and they'll be explained. And it's like but they never look within themselves. And I think that's one of the scariest parts about someone who has NPD, is that they never see it. And so they don't get the help that they really truly need. And they would be so much more healthier and happier, in my opinion, if they were to take some actions to help. Because the people that have NPD, it's all trauma based. It's caused by a very deep trauma that has caused this massive ego that is very fragile and, very large, very overinflated, right? And unfortunately, it's a lot for that person. It is a lot, because it's all trauma based, and it's also defense mechanisms that they put into play. So, when they get real rotten towards people, that is all to protect themselves and their fragile little egos. It's very interesting, but none of them look introspectively, and none of them think to go and get evaluated. And even if they did, they probably would call the doctor a quack, so really interesting dynamic there. Sasha says, yes, 100%. Great point. He would be paying close attention, not to mention he had nothing. He was stripped of everything. What are you going to do? 15 years old, are bored, no sports, no friends, no toys. Wow. Yeah, I agree with that, Sasha. And it had to have been a very tough situation for Sebastian to have been in. I mean, just absolutely. Absolutely. And Tony Fire says, my mom always said, love is not always lust, and lust is not always love. Yeah, and that is so true. Yeah, your mother is very wise, Tony. Thank you for sharing that. It's hard to decipher sometimes too. And especially, like we get into new relationships, it's always kind of hard to decipher love bombing, right? Because like again, going back to the Murdaws, that I watched that documentary, and this is a younger relationship, comparison, if you will. But, it was like when one of the boys and the little girl that had gotten thrown off the boat, Mallory, and her boyfriend, you see them, they were in a new relationship. So like while the others were kind of already comfortable with each other, right, in their relationship, and they were all friends, a group of them, you see this new relationship and they're kind of like flirting with each other, kind of going off together, things like that. And those things are kind of normal. But then it can get really, really dangerous and toxic very, very quickly when that innocent kind of let's go off together becomes obsession and isolation, and I want you all for myself, and I don't want anybody around us. I just want to be with you all the time. I don't care about them. It can turn very toxic very, very fast, and so it's hard to decipher in a new relationship. And I think we all kind of go back to that. Because even as we get older, you meet somebody new, or, you get excited about a new relationship, and you kind of you can be like, man, it feels like I'm back in high school again. I'm just so, lovey or whatever, lovey dovey, right? But yeah, it can be very easily overlooked, and it can get out of control quickly, and so I agree with what you're saying, that and what your mom said. Love is not always lust, and that lust is not always love. There's a big difference, right? And it's a big difference between being in love with somebody and loving them, because you can love somebody from a distance and wish everything good for them, but know that they're not good for you, and that you would wish them to be happy. But you know that that's never going to happen, with you. And so you want the best for them, and you care for them still. But some relationships are just so toxic that you have to break that trauma bond. And in this situation that we're dealing with, Chris and Katie, it seems like that something created this major trauma bond, and it could have been Sebastian's disappearance. Um, Definitely something to think about. So, Tony says, so sad for this boy to think what he had to hear and see, experience in this monster's home. Absolutely. Well, and Seth told us that if we had to see it or hear it, we would lose sleep over it. We wouldn't be able to sleep. So Sasha says, I will be creepy behind the walls and running to, and yeah, calling CPS. How can they blame Sebastian? It's mind blowing. Yeah. And, and again, when Seth said last night about, how Sebastian is a well-mannered, well-behaved person, and he understands how to respect other people, just, I have to give him kudos there. So, oh gosh, Detroit. Oh, honey. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say prayers for you and your daughter. I can't believe that. I didn't know that. Oh man. Aw. Yeah, it's so hard to make sense out of something so senseless. And I know that was, oh my goodness. Oh, honey. I'm so sorry. I'm so, so, so sorry. Sorry. My gosh. And that's a good way to look at it too, and I think that's something that unfortunately applies, to a lot of aspects of life. I'm so sorry. My gosh. Um, I think that that's the best way to look at things, is that God will bless us, and God does do things in his own time. But I know that it doesn't make anything easier. That's for sure. I'm so sorry. Um, yeah, oh gosh, I know. And that's the thing, Meg, he'll do it in public. He does it in public like that, you know? Hearing him daily would just be, you know, and then hearing him gripe over the phone. At least, you know, he wasn't there. At least he wasn't there all the time, you know? Yes, thank you, Sammy. Never introspective. Yes, ego as a coping mechanism, for sure, for sure. And narcissists are the most damaged people. I will say that. You know, they really are. Um, they'll never look inside, though. You know. Yes, we do see that at the Roadhouse, Sasha. He's such a wonderful young man. Such a wonderful young man. Well mannered, respectful. Um, It was my opinion that Katie kind of put on airs for, you know, to the wait staff, you know, like, "You're serving me. I've been a server, dealt with people like that before. It's kind of difficult to deal with them." You know, but again, that's kind of part of your job. But Sebastian wasn't like that. He was very polite. He was friendly. He smiled at the waitress. He treated her like a human being. Um, Aw, thanks guys for showing love to Detroit. We love you, Detroit. I'm so sorry, my friend. My gosh. Yeah. Tony, I agree. CP is the one that doesn't have any manners. He does not even respect his mother. Yeah, I agree. What then about the woman in his life? Yeah, Mr. Golden Banana. Tony, that was funny. Mr. Golden Banana. Oh my goodness. He's something else. He's definitely something else. Um but no, I think, and again, I think he had a great envy for Sebastian and the way that, you know, the person, the man, the young man who Sebastian was and who he was going to become, who he is, you know, just all of that, I think was a large blow to Chris's fragile ego. I do. You know, and so Tony, uh, aw. Yeah, that's so sweet. Thank you, Town Chat Cafe. Thank you guys. Aw. That's right, exactly. Sasha says your baby will always protect you. Aw. That's so sweet. Well, you guys, I'm gonna hop down here and try to get that comparison video up to you guys, because it does make a lot more sense, like hearing what Seth was saying afterwards, hearing what Chris said before, and I think that'd be a good idea to kind of get that out to you guys. That way we can we can put it into perspective a little bit more, because I know it's tough to kind of, you know, go over all of this. I'm glad that we had kind of a quieter night. I know that there was a lot of back and forth. I heard a little bit about kind of what transpired during court and things like that, but not anything that I was overly interested in talking about. You know what I mean? I just want to make sure that, you know, Bullhorn Betty knows that, you know, we're supporting her, what she's doing for Sebastian, grateful for her doing that, and just really thankful that Judge Ron Blanton recused himself. Like I said, that was to me a positive. I think that she's more confident with the lawyer that she has. So, you know, a lot has been going on in the case, but a lot of this is more important for us to talk about Sebastian, I think. And so I want to keep it more focused on that, and then also listen for keywords with Chris. And so if I come up with any more that I find when I do this comparison, you know, we can kind of discuss them. But I don't want to harp on this, and I kind of want to just close with, you know, kind of what we began with, just thinking about how this pressure has really built over time, and now we see it bubbling over. And I think that that's a good thing. I don't think that's a negative thing, but I don't want to harp on the blow-ups too much, because at the end of the day, I think we can take certain nuggets from it, but I think we can focus more about why this person is upset, right? Like why Chris is upset about these billboards. I think we need to explore that a little further. So we may do that more so tomorrow, because I don't want to stop talking about the billboards. I think the billboards are good. I think there's something that can be said about it, as long as you know, we can all be respectful about it. I don't think that they're saying anything wrong. I think they're saying a lot right. I think they're putting the correct amount of pressure on, and I appreciate it. And then I'll go over to X and see what's going on over there too, because boy, oh boy, there's always something popping off on X. So absolutely, Detroit, we love you. Oh, we love you, buddy. I hate that for you. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. No, some people don't deserve to be parents. They really don't. I know. And you know, it's because, you know, most of us think of kids as being really precious, and we want them to be innocent, and we don't want them to hurt. We don't want them to even see how freaking ugly the world is, you know, because it is. Life is not always beautiful. But I love how I love your positivity and your positive attitude, because I think that that's so important to remember. Yeah, and thank you for always being kind. And of course, you know, we love you. Well, thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for all your smart comments, and thank you for talking over this crazy stuff with me tonight and making me laugh, Tony. It will never go away. We will find this boy with or without CP. It's only about $500,000 up for grabs. He's scared someone makes it their mission to find Sebastian for the money. Exactly. And we see that revive the case. So I agree, Tony. That's a great comment, and very true. You know, it makes sense, right? And that's another thing that's been building is money, right? And we all know that money talks and bullshit walks. And so, you know, yeah, I think that they're applying the correct amount of pressure. I think it's a good thing. I do. And I think that CP's, you know, outburst says everything. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I see you, Town Chat Cafe. I'll check it right when I get off here. I will. Why did KP want Sebastian, or did CP? Well, and that was always a weird point of contention, or some conflicting information there too, Sasha, because at first it was, you know, it wasn't said that Sebastian was going to go live with his dad, but then all of a sudden it did come out that he was going to, and then it was like, you know, Chris and Katie didn't really want that being said, or it's just strange, you know, just really, really strange. Thanks, Meg. Thank you. Yeah. I think I smell sirens again, Sasha. All right, you guys. I love you all so very, very much. You guys take care. Pray for each other. Good night. Reach for the sky. Thank you for being here. I love you guys. We will talk tomorrow, and you guys stay safe out there, and keep praying for each other, and for Sebastian, for Seth, for Katie, for Clarity. And let's all pray that Chris stays off the internet, please. Please, let's pray for Chris to stay off the internet. He needs to chill. Yeah, there's a method to the madness. Exactly, Detroit. I knew as soon as those billboards he was going to flip out. Yeah, and it says everything. It speaks volumes. It does. It does, you know? It totally does. All right. Thank you guys so much. I love you all. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow night.